Hello and welcome to all. I'm going to be doing a decoder swap out here, and I'm going to be adding sound to this Roundhouse EMD Model 40, of which I purchased off of eBay. My apologies up front for not showing the model here. I had already begun work on it and discovered that I had some corrupted video that I could not work with. So where we're going to begin this presentation is after I disassembled the existing decoder and lighting. So once again, welcome, and let's pick up there. Okay, so let me take you through as quickly as I can what I've done. What I want to show you is the two different things that had to come off of here, actually three, okay? This piece was attached to the bottom, and of course, this was on top. And you have couplers that slide over these areas, okay? So if you have one of these, open up your booklet and it will tell you how to take apart your EMD 40. It says to start by removing this bottom portion, which has two screws, okay? You just unscrew those and you pull that off. Then the next thing you do is, of course, you unscrew your coupler holders with the coupler and you pull those off. And then lastly, if you look closely here in the light, I'll try to get the reflection, there are little notches on both sides, okay? They are also on these models. They hold, like on the shell, it holds it in, I think it's right about here. So what you need to do when this chassis is in there is what I did was I grabbed a little, it says in the instructions, once again, if you have one of these, how to remove it. You kind of get this in between these two parts. So if I turn that upside down like that, and this is in there, you kind of wedge in between this section and this section. And you gently just kind of do both sides, and before you know it, it loosens it up and you can pull this shell right off. Okay, so that's how we got to that point. Now, underneath, right where my decoder is, and I will take this off because I have already tested this, and the decoder is, and the motor and the track leads are running great. So I'm going to remove this, but I'm not going to detach the wires for the sake of explaining this. So it has, right now I have a piece of black electrical tape here. Let me zoom in a little bit, okay? So it has, if you take this off, right, which actually, interesting enough, I don't need now either. So I'm going to take that off. So let me explain really quick what this had, okay? So this thing was screwed in like this, okay? And right here are your track leads. So this is running off of a left and a right side chassis. And this is the metal connection that connects the track power. And then right in here, if you'll see, I already have attached my decoder for testing. There's the gray to the right side frame and chassis, and then there's the black to the left, and those are your motor leads. Now those were coming up, so let's get back to this. Hopefully I'm not confusing you. These two things, these metal pieces, were spun in, so they were facing in like that. This was on top, and then this decoder sat right up on top like this. If you open yours up and you haven't done anything, this is what you'll see. There's a little M. See the M? And then an M positive, so that's the motor for the right side, and motor lead to the left. Now I snipped those, okay? I snipped them very short. Actually, those are here. I snipped them as short as I could, okay, to get these two wires right here. These were the wires that were connected to the motor on this, on the factory brand Roundhouse decoder. Now these longer ones, okay, were attached underneath to these metal leads for the track. Okay, so those were the 4 wires you needed to cut, and you can rewind and replay what I just said over and over again so you get it right. There was also, I don't have it anymore, but there was a little a non-operable, just to protect these here, an 8-pin. Now you can use an 8-pin decoder and just plug it in, close it back up, and you're going to be ready to go. But I'm hardwiring it. I'm going to also add a beacon to this really cool EMD 40. Now that we've gotten through that, okay, these lights, let me pull this in and back up a little bit. I've kept all of this together to show you guys. These lights plug in. So there's a plug, all right? I unplugged them to get to do all this work. I needed to do all this work and remove this, okay? So, and as you can see here, I am most likely not going to use this plug. But the way you'll see it, if you know, before you start breaking it down like me, is the reason it had this little lift is underneath sat the plug. So they cradled it nicely underneath there, and it also kept their decoder off of the metal. So the plugs for the lights were sitting under there. So I just unplugged them after I disconnected the motor leads and the track leads like we just explained, put that off to the side. Okay, and that's how I got this, and that's how I got where I am here. So what I did I took the decoder, took the ESU decoder, of course, and if you look very closely at the shell, look at the paint. See how dark and smooth this side is? That is the right side. I made sure of that before I started disconnecting this. So this decoder was in this direction. You can see where the M plus and the red, that means right side. So we got a red here, black here, okay? And then we have our motor leads. Orange goes to the gray, and the light gray goes to the black. And this thing is running in the proper forward and reverse direction right now. So that's where I'm at with this project, and now I will take you through the rest of what I'm going to do. Okay, so what I would like you to see here is what I've done so far, because this is all going underneath the decoder. So you can see I've connected our red track lead and our black track lead, okay? And these metal pieces that have the solder on them, they are facing completely inward, so we're flush along each side. All right, now these wires are fairly short, and we will be good. Okay, so right here we've got our double stick tape. Let's swing this guy back around. All right, let's get it right about here. Nice. Okay. All right, now I think we'll get to these two, our motor power, and we'll trim these down to a nice length, and I'll be back. Okay, so now you can see we have our orange motor lead and our gray motor lead. Gray to the black, orange to the gray there. Okay, and I have not, right now we just have the shrink tube covering it because I need to test this and make sure our motor and track power is doing good, just like this, as it is. And if so, then we will move on to speakers and lighting. All right, everything ran great on the test track. I shrank this tubing, and we are tucked in and ready to get to the lighting and all of that next. So, okay, so the next thing I want to do, come in here and I'm going to cut these wires right here where the insulators are at, okay? I'm just going to cut them. And we're going to use these positive and negative wires. We're going to use these LEDs. I think these LEDs are awesome in here. They're a nice bright white. So let's cut these right about here. All right, we need to trim these guys. So we'll snip off some of the cover coating of those wires, and we'll get some solder on those, you know, and then we're going to have our beacon also. So the idea is to thread the beacon LED that I'm going to put in first through the top, pull it through, and try to find a side wall that we can put some putty up against so we don't see a wire coming straight down. And we'll get all of that in place, test it. Okay, so what I've done here is I've made the speaker, I've put it together. I'm only using the smallest little casing, little muffler sound. They come with a few of them, a baffle, I guess. This is the big one. Now, if I used all of them, that's how big this speaker would be. We're not going to have room like that. So I went with the smaller one and then the bottom piece. I glue those together. Then you peel the backing off of this speaker and you just stick it onto the baffle. So that's all set, okay? The speaker I'm using here is a ESU 50321. And the beacon we're going to be using on the top is this. Details West rotary beacon number 106. Those are some of my favorite ones. Kind of has a square cap. You'll see that as we get into it. What I've done is I've taken an X-Acto blade. And if you look real close, I lined up what I thought would be pretty good center position. And I just dropped it on there and spun it a couple of times. That's where my drill bit's going to go through. And what I do is, here is the beacon casing. I'll take a toothpick and I'll put little dabs of glue, and then I'll position it over this, line it up best I can, and then lay it down on there and press it, and then I drill my hole. Okay, the beacon housing is on. So we'll let that sit for a little bit and dry. One of the other reasons I should mention that you would want to go with a 106 here. I should have showed you before I glued it on, but you can kind of see in the picture here. So we have a curved roof, okay? See how curved that roof is? This beacon housing has 3 legs that glue on. You can see there's one there. Let's see, let's flip it around. Another one there. And a third one back here. It's great for rounding roofs. Okay, so we have, like I said, our positive are our gray wires. If you could see it there. I have my trusty little 3-volt case. Let me back up here. This guy, I just recently added clips to it to make my life a little easier. All right, so once again, your positive wires down here that you're going to want to join together are the gray wire, okay? Okay, our beacon is in. You can see it there on the top. Just testing the lighting out, and I'm going to actually take this off now. So I inserted these. I got them off of eBay. They're 0805 warm white. They're a little larger than the ones I'm used to using. This one just covers that area in there, inside. But you can go smaller. I have in the past. I've used LEDs like this in the past, even smaller dinky ones, 0402s. You know, and they just have their wires, and here they are. I'll shorten these when we get to making our connections for this. The next thing I will do, though, as I said, is we'll try to I'm going to need to angle these wires off to a corner where it's covered up. I'm going to run them along the top of the roof and down. Not to adhere it, because what I've got adhering it inside of here is some putty. I use, I brought it up before, it's this stuff. Woohoo Fix, Patafix. Stuff is like glue, and it doesn't dry out. It's a putty. And what I do is I take the smallest piece like this. Can you see that little piece of putty? And I get it really small and I roll it like this, okay? And then I wrap it around the wires. And then I pull the wires down gently and maneuver and push this piece down, because the putty will seep up a little bit around the LED, okay? And then you push that back down and you get a nice look. So, and I'm using double stick tape to keep everything off the metal, okay? Like I showed you earlier, we have double stick tape holding the decoder in place, and also our speaker at this point. Trying to get a tight fit. I mean, all we have left now are the lights. I've tested this. We've got good motor, track, and sound coming out of this. So, I think this will fit. You know, it's gonna be close, but you know, thinking since it is the center, it should be okay. I'm looking at it. Should just make it. So, and I went ahead and got some putty in there. We're running our wires down here, and I put resistors on all of our negative wires here. And next thing I'm going to do is start connecting all our lighting here, okay, as such. Got our lighting set up here. I'm going to test this on the track, see if our lights are working. But this is what it should look like, okay? So you have your resistors on all your colored wires. This is the common, all the gray and the red wire from our new LED for the top also. So this is front, back, and beacon. This is front, common, back, beacon. Okay, auxiliary one here. So before we shrink up this tubing and try to pack all of this into one little shell, we're going to test all these lights first. Okay, so currently we are downloading a sound file for this right now, and when we are all done, we'll show you its final run on the track. It did take quite some work to get all things fitted in there, mainly the wires. I ended up covering, you can't see it right now, there's not enough light down here, but I ended up covering it with some black electrical tape to hide as much as we could underneath there. But I mean, another thing you could do is pop your windows out and frost them or paint them. You know, you can do things like that too. But I like how clean these guys look. So we'll be back when this file is done. All right, here it is, all finished, you guys. Let's start it up for the sound sequence here. Got our headlights on, front and back. Got our beacon. Horn and bell. Let's go forward. Up. Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks again for joining me on this this decoder install with sound in this very, very small Roundhouse EMD 40. Hope this helps you if you choose to do so. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Once again, thanks for visiting.